Good afternoon and welcome to another Oblivion Plays live stream. So we're here in the Zibo 737 at Inverness Airport, and we're basically going to be doing today the return leg from the flight that I did, when was it? Was it Friday? Or was it Saturday? Can't remember. A couple of days ago. Short flight down to Manchester on this glorious sunny day. Obviously I live in Manchester and I can tell you that the weather is reflecting what we're seeing in the scenery in Inverness as well. So sunny, by the looks of things it'll be sunny all the way down from Inverness to Manchester, so lovely day to go flying. Let's jump into the cockpit and get everything on board. Once again we're going to be using the SimBuddy client to simulate our flight today. For those of you who haven't joined me in my previous streams, it's basically like a virtual airline that allows you to simulate carrying passengers and make money from that for your virtual airline, and you have to basically keep your passengers happy with your flight attendants. Right, so what we'll do, I'm not sure whether Inverness has ground power available, so basically we'll do what we did when we arrived last time, is we'll run off the APU. Simboy, hello. Remind me of your actual name. You did tell me the other day. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what it was. Leo EXE has stopped working. Hello, welcome to the stream. So let's get the power on. And like I said, we'll run off the APU today. So I'm in 767 mode, so just let me get familiar with the aircraft again. What we'll do next is just get the irises aligned. Is it Liam? Lewis, I think Lewis it was, wasn't it? Should we just get all the fuel pumps on, why not? And the window heats. So that alarm's just because we're running off the batteries. Basically driving the voltage down. Okay, position light on. APU's coming online. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, it's been a long time. But I'm obviously glad. I've got a bit of time at the moment, so I thought, why not take advantage of that whilst I can. So get the AP online. There we go. Alarms are switched off now. That's pretty much the overhead panel set up now. Happy with that. Right, we'll load up the fuel before we run out of fuel with the APU running. Okay, let's get our flight plan up. So, full passenger load today, 189 passengers, and total payload of 17.8 tons. So quite heavy. We're on a short runway at Inverness. Inverness is basically borderline for 737 ops. So I think we won't be able to really do a D-rated takeoff, but we'll be able to do a D-rated climb. So payload 17.8, fuel weight today is 4.3. So not too much fuel, relatively short journey. So takeoff weight 63.5 and zero fuel weight. I think we're going to have to add on a little bit extra. Yeah, so it's 1.6 extra. So 19.4. See if that fits. 60.8. Yeah, that's better. Takeoff weight 63.5. Fuel 4.3. Don't know where the extra weight's gone. Doesn't matter. We're a little bit. Oh no, there we go. It's recalculated now. 65.1. Yeah, perfect. Bang on, matching the flight plan. No, I'm not on VATSIM. I'm not using any ATC today. I used to use an app called Pro ATC when I was using P3D, but there doesn't seem to be a particularly good equivalent. I know there is one available for X-Plane, but it didn't look quite as in-depth as Pro ATC was. Alright, deposit it. EGPE, Echo Golf, Papa Echo. Oops. Like I said, I don't think the gates will work, so we'll just put in the airport position. Get the IRSs aligned. So heading down to Manchester today. Short flight, but nice and interesting. Let's just get the flight plan back up again. So we're taking off today runway 23, which is the runway that we landed on with our engine failure. And then it's... we've got a flight number. I think it's 006. So departures today, like I said, is runway 23. There's no SIDS. So we'll be going direct to Rimmel. Then direct to Nesdy. Direct to Gal. And then L612 to DCS. Not the combat flight sim, unfortunately. UL612 to the aptly named Lakey. As it's over the lakes. And then the Dale 2 Alpha arrival, so we'll pop that in. Runway 23 right, which again I've checked with Flight Radar 24, and that is the current active runway at Manchester Airport. And that's reflected by the fact that I've got hardly any aircraft flying overhead my house in Manchester, because it depends on the wind direction. Dale 2 Alpha. Now I seem to remember this doesn't... Oh no, there it is, yeah. I had the other day one of them that didn't actually exist in the database. Just make sure there's no discontinuities. Nope. And we'll just double check. That makes sense on the legs page, so we'll go over to the plan page. Yep, that looks absolutely fine. Execute that. Head over to the perf init page. Fuel and balance page up. So zero fuel weight, like I said, was 60.8 tons. Reserves today are, it's usually around about 1.1. Yeah, 1.1. Cost index will be 20. So gross weight, as we've already established, is 65.1. That's the takeoff weight. Cruising altitude today is relatively low. It's recommending 280, but we actually would. The flight plan actually recommends 240, which is significantly lower than what we were doing on the way up. I had this problem the other day, didn't I? I can't remember how we fixed that. But the way we worked around it was by going onto the cruise page. So we'll do that in a second. I'll just get the cruise winds, which are 163 at 012. Not too bad. So that'll be a tailwind, so that should help us down. So cruise page, what did I say, 240. Flaps 5. Centre of gravity was 24.1 for takeoff. Just get to the N1 limit page, that's the one I'm after. So full takeoff. Outside air temperature is 18. Oh, didn't need to do that. And then, so yeah, full takeoff, and then we'll do climb. Well, because we're so, you know, climbing so low, we'll just do climb 2. So that's pretty much toga power, slightly derated, and that's us done. Excellent. Right, so we'll go back to the init ref page. Sorry, the takeoff page. And then put V2147 in. Altitude 240. There won't be any restrictions because we're not. Ooh, crap! So we're not running on a star. They really need to sort out the scroll wheel input in X-Plane because it's so frustrating. Particularly if you're running through turbulence, you just miss the the button that you're trying to scroll through, and then you just zoom in and out. So runway heading. So Echo Golf Papa. Oh, Echo. It normally puts in the correct runway heading, but we'll just double check. Useful to get this airport page up anyway. 234. Oh no. I think I'm thinking of the 767. 234. On the auto throttle, and LNAV won't be working just yet. Oh, it should be. I think the IRS is aligned. No worries. Okay, so let's just run through some of the checklists. Actually, before I forget, we'll just put the speed rate to rejected takeoff and then trims to 4.79. And then let's run through some of the checklists. So battery switch is on, GPU's on, sorry, APU's on, IRS is all done. Yeah, this is all looking fine. Perfect. CDU's done. I've set the lights. Perfect. No worries there, all done. Yeah, we're all looking good. I'm getting quite good at doing the flows now. Okay, so yeah, that's fine. And then the before start checklist. Before we do that, we'll get the passengers on board. On the SimBuddy, so yeah, load passengers. Take a little while because, like I said, we've got full load today. 189 passengers. Ground handling is by. What do I say again? Jar design. That's it. Yeah. Not as good. Personally, I don't think it's as good as GSX. I just love the fact that with GSX, it's, you just basically click the button and you leave it, and it kind of does it fairly realistically. Doesn't give you any pushback support or like marshaller support when you're taxiing into the parking bay. Although personally, I really like the better pushback plugin anyway, because that does the pushback element of what I'm talking about anyway. %50 done. What we can do is just close the cargo doors and the service doors, and then the last little bits we'll do when passengers are on board. The other thing I've forgotten to do, which I'll do now actually, is just get the A-cars. So it's quite cool, it simulates like a VHF A-cars service. So, QNH is 1018 today. That should sync, yeah, so it's synchronised with the first officer. And then the winds, 220 at 5 knots.
All passengers are on board.
So not too bad. Okay, passengers are on board. That noise, I was just playing, it basically needs to play the passengers' music to keep them happy initially, but I'm not too sure what the copyright situation with them, so try not to play that.
Please take your seat and fasten your seatbelt. And also make sure your seat back and folding trays are in their full upright position. If you are seated next to an emergency exit, please read carefully the special instructions card located by your seat. We remind you that this is a non-smoking flight. Smoking is prohibited on the entire aircraft, including the lavatories. Tampering with, disabling or destroying the lavatory smoke detectors is prohibited by law. If you have any questions about our flight today, please don't hesitate to ask one of our flight attendants. Thank you.
Yeah, just the I just put the into the pressurization panel. So 24,000 feet cruise altitude 250. So the landing altitude at Manchester is 257, but we'll put in 250 because that's the nearest. Want to be the nearest altitude below what the ground altitude is, because if it's above, otherwise you won't be able to open the doors when you landed. Okie dokie. So let's get well, let's do the before start checklist. So let's close the doors and close the flight deck door as well. And we'll get rid of the ground handling. So, doors are closed and flight deck's closed and locked. CDU set, N1 bugs are checked and IS are inputted in, MCP set. So let's get the pushback.
Ground to cockpit, tow is driving up.
Welcome back, Lewis. Put in a little bit more data whilst waiting, actually. So the top of cruise outside air temperature will be minus 26. Actually, not too cold today.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
Checklist, sorry, that's not what I'm after. So transponder will leave off until we're approaching the runway, and the rest is basically after we've pushed back. Hello Stevie, welcome. Does it not? Interestingly, well, I don't know whether ground markings aren't correct, because I suspect if they don't do the pushback, they do need to do like the diagonal parking stands.
So connected and bypass pin inserted.
We didn't do that, and it doesn't load like that, so we will just utilise the pushback truck anyway.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
So pack's off, and then we'll start engine number 2. Just watching that N2, waiting for about 20%. starting off with Marsha. Cool. Wow, thanks for the info. We'll try that next time when we come to Inverness. Good start, and that was the cut off, switching off, and we'll start engine number 1. And introduce fuel. Once that's doing that, we get down to flat 5. Another good start.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Let's get the pedals. Okay, so get the packs on.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
APU off. Hydraulics on. Heater heats on. Good, right, let's do the run through, make sure we didn't miss anything on the engine start checklist. It's fine. Just put the engine selectors into continuous. Go onto the system page and we'll just do a flight controls check. So full left, full right, full up, full down, full left on the rudder, full right on the rudder. That's good. Turn the screen off. And
Cell is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand
Gents
signal
1 and
on
2
the
are
left. We'll
Pro
see you
peaks
next
are on.
time and have a safe
Anti-house we
flight.
don't need. Relatively warm day today. Pack switches are auto. Eye stations auto. AP, yeah, that's all looking good. Just make sure the flaps are in. Yeah, flaps 5 set and indicating. Done the flight controls check and we've turned off the lower DU. Excellent. So just wait for the thumbs up. Got the thumbs up. You'll be there with your camcorder, but man, flu's got you. Sorry to hear that, mate. Hope you're feeling better soon. In the meantime, you can watch me instead. Taxi light on. Didn't put on the anti-collision lights. We'll do that now. That was silly of me. And good to go. Let's release the parking brake. So we'll taxi up this direction. I'll show you the airport map. So we taxi up Echo and then track up runway 11 and then basically backtrack, backtrack up runway 23 and then turn around at the end. Just turn the flight directors on. So not much airline traffic, in Inverness today. We've got some general aviation on the stands. To runway 11, so what we'll do is just turn the transponder on and the strobe.
Flight attendants, doors to automatic and cross check.
Ready. planes do I have in P3D? Well, yeah, I'm going to jog my memory now because I can't even really remember. I had the Majestic Dash 8, I had PMDG 737, PMDG
Doors are
MD11,
set to automatic and cross-check.
the Quality Wing 757.
Flight attendants,
what else?
prepare the cabin for takeoff.
Oh, the Aerosoft A320 series. I think those ones I mostly use. I did have the, I think it was Feel Their E-Jets series, but they weren't particularly good, to be honest. But they're only kind of like payware, but in inverted commas, because they were probably the quality of freeware, but they were the only kind of partially study sim E-Jets that were available. I think the SSG E-Jets for X-Plane are a lot better. You wish you had those planes. Well, to be honest, I mean, I paid for a lot of them and then didn't actually use them all that much. So if you have a particular aircraft that you use a lot, then I probably would recommend that.
Captain,
Clear left and
the
right,
cabin is
so we
secure.
can backtrap up the runway. Hello, Pedro. Nice to see you again. I remember you from when I used to do Twitch streams. I'm not an Airbus pilot in real life now. I'm actually a doctor in real life.
Flight attendants,
seated.
seats for takeoff.
Strobe lights are on, other lights will, well, they're on, but we'll switch on the landing lights when we're facing the right direction. Transponders on TARA, and then we're good to go. Oh, that sounds fantastic, Lewis. Fingers crossed and good luck for you. I think if I was in your position, I probably would have given it a lot more thoughts and considered it a lot more strongly than I did. Turn all the way around. Backtrack. Yeah, you got plenty of time. So landing lights on. Good to go. Cool. So what we'll do is we'll sorry, I kind of overthrust the engines then. We'll do a standing start just because we have the length of the runway. We go. Positive rate, gear up.
$400.
1 feet. We'll start our left turn.
$1,000.
be back in the chat in a sec. Just let me just finish the takeoff roll. Oh, beautiful bridge down there. Back to Aberdeen then, so I've just skipped out Rimmer. And we'll pop on the autopilot. Flaps up to 1.
2,500.
And then flaps up. Right, where were we? Hello Akshay, nice to see you on the stream. You thought I was dead, I know, it's been 3 years. I wouldn't blame you for thinking that. Just turn off the water brake, landing gear to off. You loved Towers 2011. Yeah, it's a good game. I haven't played it in absolute ages though. This is X-Plane 11. Pedro, you think you remember? You're a paramedic. I remember that actually. I remember you saying that you're a paramedic. Yeah. See, that's near London way, isn't it? No, I live up in Manchester. So that's where we're flying to. It's only about 50 minutes flight time. So gone through the transition level, so switch to standard, and we'll just do the just make sure we've gone through everything on that. Oh yeah, you just and just selects us to auto. Excellent. The flare effects I think will probably be part of X-Enviro. They do look pretty stunning. If you watch the last stream I did when we were approaching into Inverness on final, it was looking stunning with the the flare and the scenery and everything, and obviously was made a bit more interesting by that engine failure on final. You're an Oxford boy. Yeah, like I said, not far from where I grew up, because I grew up in Cheltenham, so that's only about 40 minutes away from Oxford. Flight after, we'll see how we go, quite possibly. I was thinking if we do another flight, what we could do is continue from Manchester down to Newquay. It's quite a good flight, it's a pretty good approach as well. So we're approaching 10,000, so once we hit 10,000 we'll turn off the runway lights and we'll release the cabin crew. When we hit 15,000 we'll release the passengers. So that's us passing through 10,000. Where are you? There you are.
Flight attendants, you can resume your duties.
And we'll start with the in-flight entertainment and the refreshments.
We have started the in-flight entertainment. Captain, we have started serving refreshments.
Good question, Lewis. So Lewis has asked why did I say goodbye to Prepared? The last time I was using Prepared, I think it was version 3.5, and they still hadn't converted to a 64-bit system at that point, and I was just getting progressively more and more frustrated with the out of memory errors that I was getting. it was just getting increasingly frustrating. So I tried the X-Plane demo and just instantly fell in love with the flight model. It just felt so realistic. And I think about that time was when some of the really detailed study sim add-ons were coming out for X-Planes, like the Rotate MD80 and the IXE G737. I think I was watching a video by Matt Davies of him flying the IXE G737 from East Midlands, I think, to one of the Greek islands, and it just looked unbelievable. And I thought I'd give X-Plane a serious go. Gave it a couple of months, really liked it, and decided not to go back to prepared, even when they released the 64-bit version. Partly due to the fact that I found getting a sim up to a level where I was happy with it. Having to spend the money, I didn't want to be spending that money on 2 sims because it just gets too expensive. So I decided just to concentrate on X-Plane. And I'm really glad I did, because X-Plane has come on leaps and bounds since I've switched over. Now we've got volumetric clouds, the effects are stunning, some of the add-ons that are being released now are incredible. As I mentioned in my previous sims, there are a few things that I'm missing, namely a decent Dash 8, the FS2 crew, which is the virtual co-pilot I did really like and prepared, and a decent ground handling add-on such as GSX, because the I forgot what their names are again. Jar design ground handling. It's visually, obviously, you see what you see the ground trucks and things, but it's it's not nowhere near as detailed or as realistic as GSX was. And I notice now that GSX have actually also simulated passengers like boarding the aircraft as well. So the depth of realism is unbelievable there. So hopefully GSX will see that there is a bit of a migration to X-Plane, and they will eventually release it for X-Plane. I'd be really pleased if they did that. Same for FS2 crew. I really hope they do decide to branch out to X-Plane as well. But of course we've got Flight Sim 2020 to look forward to, which if the screenshots are anything to go by, it looks absolutely incredible. And from what I've gathered, again, I think this is hearsay, I don't know if it's actually been confirmed, they're going to be looking to use the Microsoft servers to kind of generate some of the scenery or the weather effects and things, which just take some of that load off the computer. So I think it'll be quite accessible even for those who don't have the most up-to-date or most powerful computer setups. The fact that it's going to be available for console users also reflects the fact that it's not going to be that demanding on on the system specs. Right, we didn't release the passengers, so we'll do that now. Let passengers get out up and about. So, as I've mentioned again on the previous streams, I know I'm repeating myself, but I don't think that many have seen the last couple of streams that I did the last couple of days. Using a client called SimBuddy, where you have a virtual airline that you buy aircraft or you set up your own routes. You then have an in-flight client that you use, which basically dictates how you look after your passengers, and you interact with the cabin crew. So they get the cockpit ready for takeoff, they arm and disarm the doors, you have to tell them to be seated for takeoff, you have to also tell passengers to be seated. It gives you the option to set and unset the seat belts for passengers, and then throughout the flight you get rating bars for your passengers and basically how happy they are. So there's an overall happiness bar: thirst, hunger, boredom. So as you give them, you give them the meal service, the drink service, the in-flight entertainment, and basically keep those bars up. So just adds that extra element, to make flights a bit more interesting as you're going along. You're going to get it the minute it releases. Yeah, I don't blame you. It does look incredible. I just really hope they listen to the community and take on board the fact that we want there to be third-party add-ons, the ability to have third-party add-ons with Flight Sim 2020, because I think that could make or break it. But having seen some of the developer information that they're releasing, it does seem to suggest that they are going to take that on board. So fingers crossed that they do listen to the community and do that. You're going to fly to Vienna to Amsterdam and back in the Quality Wing 757 after your tutorial. No worries. I'm glad you found it helpful. I did quite like the Quality Wing 757. It was a good balance between realism and just being quite accessible, you know, to the casual, you know, simmer. I'm considering getting the Flight Factor 757. It does look like it really, you know, if it's anything like the 767 for X-Plane, then I'd be quite happy to look into that. They've just released that modern avionics pack for it as well, which basically brings it almost in line now with the 737 with the two flight displays are computerized rather than using analog dials. So we're at our cruise altitude, flight level 240, relatively low, just because the flight is quite short. Excuse me. So go to our progress. 228 nautical miles to go. ETA is 15:54 Zulu. So about 40 minutes to go. You're going to do, I'm assuming Lima Oscar Whiskey is Vienna, so Vienna, Amsterdam to Gatwick. Sounds like a good route. I'm getting a bit of an alert from YouTube saying that the stream might not be smooth. Just let me know if having any problems with you know, how the stream's looking. I'll try and sort it out for you. I did this last time, but everyone was saying that the stream was fine, so ignore it if everything's coming across fine. Just turn your volumes down, because what I'm going to do is just go outside for a little while. Fly over the islands. Okay, so let's start the meal service.
Captain, we have started serving food.
The voice lagged a bit, okay, and that's resolved now, has it? Fuel flow's not too bad actually, even for a flight level 240. It's nearer to 1 when you're up in the 360 kind of levels. But you know, for 240 it's fine. Okay, it's all resolved. Good, excellent. Glad to hear it. Like I say, if there are any problems, just let me know and I'll try and fix it for you. I've set the bitrate to be significantly lower than my internet upload, so there shouldn't be any problems. But I do appreciate Sunday afternoon is quite busy for internet traffic, so it might just affect that. Top of descent 136 nautical miles. About just under 20 minutes to top of descent. Passengers are happy, they're just very hungry, but we just started the meal service, so that should keep them happy. For those of you who don't know, with the Flight Sim 2020 you can actually join Microsoft's Insider program. And apparently that means you'll be get access to some of their potentially some of the betas and also obviously their release of screenshots and videos of their pre-production and stuff of them making the simulator. I did sign up, and they have, at least last time I checked, they've released one kind of blog covering what they're up to so far, and like I said, the screenshots just looked unbelievable. Looks like they've already got volumetric clouds, which we have in Xenviro, but as many of you probably are aware, that it's not a perfect system. It's very demanding on your frame rate, and you get these kind of like noisy artifacts around the clouds. But having said that, if you kind of squint and look at it, the being a bit blurry, it does look incredible. You know, especially the stuff in the distance, it looks very realistic. So if they can optimise it and, you know, improve some of these artifacts, I think it will be a really good add-on. Hello Borislav, welcome to the stream. Nice to see you. I think you're a new face. I've seen you before. In X-Plane 11, both engines' fuel consumption is pretty much the same. Is it the same on the real 737? I'm not too sure about the 737. I have watched a few videos from what's the name of that YouTube channel? Let me just find it for you. So it's air-clips.com. Basically, they producing real life videos covering flight operations from the cockpit, and it's really in depth. So they have like 10 GoPros in each cockpit, and they cover each of, you know, the screens and the views out of the cockpit, and then the flight crew themselves. What I've noticed, so I watched a video where they were in, the last one was in the Fokker 100, and they did look at the engine management system. And you could actually see that the engines, so like the N1, the N2, the fuel consumption, the EGTs were obviously different, because in real life they're not exactly synchronized. So to answer your question, I suspect no. I mean, they will be very similar, because obviously they're using complex engine management systems, particularly in the newer 737s. So the computer will obviously try and keep things as synchronized as possible, and fuel consumption purposes try and keep it as synchronized as possible, but I suspect there will be slight differences between the two engines as you're flying. But AirClips, really good YouTube channel. I would really recommend you guys go and check it out. I've learned a lot from just watching how real pilots operate and stuff. They've got a few clips from Lufthansa Cargo where they're flying the MD-11, which just looks unbelievable. I love the MD-11. I can't wait for Rotate to release their MD-11 for X-Plane. Have fun, Lewis. I hope your flights go well. No worries about me eating the stream. I think it's just such a shame that the MD-11 was pretty much non-existent for passenger services now. I think KLM were probably one of the last to use it, within Europe. They finished, I think it was 2014, they stopped their services. Hello Kitty Cat, welcome to the stream. Again, nice to see a new face. You heard it's true for the 777 as well. Is that the engines being kind of out of sync? Because I did watch, there was another video, it was a German cargo operator that flew, I think they were flying from Hong Kong to, where was it? It was one of the German airports. It's one of the basically the pure cargo airports in Germany. And again, you could see that the engines were kind of slightly out of sync at times. Leipzig, I think it was where they flew to. Quite an interesting one, because it's basically an airport that entirely operates off cargo. huge cargo and warehouses and hangars. Hello Aviation Talk, welcome to the stream. I mean, it kind of makes sense. Like I was saying before, your engines, they're such complex systems. As much as you could try and synchronize using engine management, you're never going to do that because they'll be slightly out of sync in terms of the wear of the parts, how hot they're going to get. I guess also it's probably going to try and synchronize it with like your yaw, with the wind direction and stuff. So it does make sense that they're not going to be exactly synchronized. In a simulator, obviously, it's a little bit difficult to simulate the parameters being slightly out, but we're looking at the EGT actually here, and actually they are slightly out of sync. So I guess there is an element of realism there. But the the N1 and if we pull up the N2 and everything else is pretty much the same. Fuel flow is the same. But yeah, we've got asynchronous EGTs, which I guess is quite realistic. It's used to simulate how the MH370. What do you mean by that? Tablet Num, welcome to the stream. Nice to see you. Just bring the range down on the map. Not long till top of cruise. Oh, right, okay. Didn't know that. One engine was known to consume more fuel and then would have flamed out first. Fair enough. Yeah, I do remember that. I mean, because Rolls-Royce were using quite complex kind of analysis to try and work out where they thought the airplane might have crashed, and they predicted it was going to be off the west coast of Australia, and then it ended up parts of the plane drifted up to the east coast of Africa. So it's all a bit weird about kind of what happened to it and where it crashed. Am I on a network? No, I'm not. I don't really tend to stream or record using anything like AvSim. Partly so I can concentrate on talking to you guys. It gets a bit overwhelming if I'm doing that as well as doing the stream. And also it adds an element of unpredictability, which can be a little bit annoying when you're streaming. So close that checklist, we've done everything there. We'll just get the descent checklist ready. So not long till top of cruise. So what we'll do is we'll just have a look at the approach charts for Manchester. I'm pretty familiar with them. I've flown in and out so many times now. But we use Avitab. Avitab you can synchronize with your Navigraph subscription, so you can get your charts directly into the tablet. So we'll just first of all we'll get an update ASIS. So QNH is 1022, no significant change predicted. Winds 3005 at 5 knots. Temperature 16 degrees, and that's pretty accurate. I can tell you that. Having been outside today, it's a bit cold. Autumn is upon us. Right, approach charts. ILS 23 right. So we're descending down to 3,500. Approach heading will be 232. The ILS heading is 232. ILS frequency is 109.5. We'll pop that into the radios now. I can't remember where this course changes. We'll put it in provisionally and we might have to put it back in again in a second. So 232. Decision height. Just see if I can get that. Category 2. Oh, there we go. It wasn't working a second ago. I don't know why. Decision height 100 feet. Radio. Thanks very much for all the likes, by the way, guys. If you are enjoying the stream, do hit that like button. If you're new to the stream and you're liking what you see, do hit that subscribe button as well. It really does help. It helps get my videos out there and things, so I do appreciate it. Thanks very much. Okay, let's have a look at the InitRef page. We'll do a flaps 30 landing. Huge runway at Manchester, as many of you are aware. So we'll pop that into the... There we go. And so VREF 146, wind correction. What did I say the winds were again? They're pretty non-significant. It's a very calm day in Manchester today. Yeah, only 5 knots. Basically, you need to put a wind correction in for that. So that's pretty much set up. Go to the descent checklist to see if there's anything we can anticipate. So landing altitude, we've verified already. I've already established that. Everything else. Yeah, we've done all that. Auto brake we'll just set to 1. We'll mostly be running off the thrust reversers and things anyway. No need to slam on the brakes. So how much further have we got? Let's go to progress page. Top of descent 70 nautical miles, 15:37 Zulu time. So 10 minutes time we'll be hitting the top of descent. Set the altitude to 3,500. So what I might do is fly on to Newquay. We'll close the stream down. I'll have like a half an hour break, and then for those of you interested, I can fly from Manchester down to Newquay. Quite a interesting airport to fly into. Beautiful scenery. Interesting approach. Funny enough, it's actually got a ridiculously long runway. It used to be an RAF base, I believe. So it's got a crazy long runway. It's not particularly challenging like it is at Inverness to land, but like I said, it's quite a nice approach. So more than happy to do that. Again, I can use my SimBuddy because I've set that route up on my virtual airline. Passengers are still happy, pleased to report. They're just a bit bored, but the in-flight entertainment hasn't finished yet, so basically that'll bring that rating up. Feel free to ask me any questions, those of you watching. Let's have a look where we are. Oops, wrong one. So, just heading over the last bits of the borders, and then we'll be heading towards the lakes. Dumfries coming into view soon. We're going to go to an outside view. The volume does increase quite dramatically, so those of you got quite loud or are wearing your headphones, just turn your volume down just for a little bit, and then you'll not know how your ears. Borislav, in case you missed approach, let's have a look on the chart. So, that's the wrong one. No worries, see you in a bit, aviation talk. 2, 3, right. So in case of missed approach, do a right turn to 357. Climb to 3,500 straight ahead until passing 750 feet or 0 DME from INN, whichever is the latest. Then turn right to 357. and then as directed. So obviously if you're on a network, or if you had ATC, you'd be given vectors thereafter, or a holding pattern. But your missed approach altitude is 3,500, which will already be set into the autopilot anyway, because that's the altitude that we need when we're intercepting the ILS. Hope that helps. Sometimes with SimBuddy you get kind of multiple drinks and food services, but because the flight's so short, we've only kind of got one available of each, and one in-flight entertainment kind of option as well. I'll just put the SimBuddy link in to the chat just for those of you who are interested. It is free, but you're quite limited with what you can do with the free version. So you can pay for the premium edition, which is £5 a month, and then you get some more aircraft for your VA, more routes, and just a bit more flexibility. I tried it out and just initially used the free version, found it quite good, enjoyed it, so was willing to kind of fork out a little bit extra to use the premium version. See how I go. If I don't particularly use it thereafter, I'll stop paying for it. About 40 nautical miles to top of descent, so not long to go. Just starting to drop a little bit. I think it's just we're approaching Manchester. Using Aerosoft's Manchester scenery for X-Plane 11. I did have, I think it was Aerosoft's original version for Manchester. I believe it was Aerosoft anyway, or it was a producer that Aerosoft published scenery for. It was pretty good, but the visual fidelity was starting to get a bit dated. So I actually switched. And also it was quite taxing on the system, so what I did was I switched over to the UK 2000 version for X-Plane, because although it probably looked the same, it was a lot lighter on the system. I got much better frames. And then I kind of noticed the other day that Aerosoft have released a new version for X-Plane 11. I think it was about marked earlier on this year, and it looks really, really good. And you'll see it when we land. And it doesn't actually seem to be that much more heavy on my system, on my computer, than UK 2000's edition was. I was still getting kind of equivalent frames. Not that that's particularly good, because using True Earth, Great Britain with Aerosoft scenery and running in 4K with X-Enviro, it's my frames aren't fantastic around Manchester. Probably only get between 15 and 20. So you might well notice that when we're on that approach. Those who are interested, my sister specs are in the description below. Essentially running a 4790K and a Titan X Pascal edition. Decided to go up to the Titan just to run the simulator in 4K. Got an aircraft ahead on the TCAS, 1,800 feet above us. Might be able to see that as we get a bit closer. Nothing in sight at the moment. Should be straight ahead now. nautical miles now. Ah, there it is. Might not be able to see it on 1080p, but on the 4K screen that I've got, I can just see the traffic just going across by 10 o'clock now. Plenty of clearance, traffic in sight. Using World Traffic 3 for my other traffic. It's like a 737. Not too sure about the airline. So as we're approaching Manchester, the airspace is getting quite busy. Must be getting relatively close to the lakes now. Onto Avitab. Yeah, so we're actually approaching Scarford Pike now. So looking at the map, we come down to around about here and then start heading towards Manchester. So just starting to decel as we approach the top of descent. Not long to go now. Couple of aircraft ahead. That one's well above though. Another one off to our left hand side. Can't see that one though. Just going to pop outside again, so just turn your volumes down. Ah, there's that aircraft. Flying directly overhead. Looks like an EasyJet. Make you out the mountains of the Lake District. Could even have been Scarfell Pike. Yeah, that looked like an EasyJet A320 just flying overhead. Like I said, a good amount of clearance, so no worries there. So going in via Lakey and then the daily approach, Dale to Alpha Star. And then we'll join the ILS after then, but down we go. Just double check everything, the descent checklist. Yeah, so we're all good there. And then we'll approach checklist will start as we're getting nearing to 10,000 feet. Passenger signs will go on at about 15. And then we'll get the rest of the bits and bobs ready, so landing lights on and everything as we get close to 10,000. Transition altitude for Manchester is 5,000 feet. Just need to have a bit of drag, I think, and we're just starting to accelerate. And what we'll do, just get the latest reports for Manchester. 1021, no significant change. Is that the same? Yeah, 1021. Still a 5 knot wind, 280. So that'll be slight right to left crosswind, but only 5 knots, so nothing significant. Just get the frequency set to 109.5. 232 and the course is already set. Got a high memory usage alert there, so hopefully we won't crash. Like I said, it's just that Manchester Airport, you know, it does just add a bit of strain onto the graphics card. Hopefully it'll load. We'll have to wait and see. Otherwise, next time I stream, I'll have to just turn the settings down a little bit if I'm going into Manchester. It doesn't tend to be a problem if I'm leaving Manchester. So I tend to go from an area of high virtual memory usage to an area of low. So it might just look a bit crappy when we get to Manchester, so sorry about that in advance if that is the case. Alright, bring down the range down to 40 on the map display. And we'll just bring that speed brake down a little bit. Borislav, when do we need to turn on the seatbelt? So I'm going to put them on around about 15,000 feet. Great stream, wish you all the best. Thank you very much. Let's bring the speed brakes back a bit. Unfortunately, using X-Enviro, True Earth Great Britain, Aerosoft add-on scenery, a detailed sim like the Zibo does add up on, you know, when you're using the virtual memory. I'm using max textures as well, so we'll see how we go. But we might not, Manchester might not load in properly. So approaching 15,000, so we'll get the seatbelt signs on now. Same on SimBuddy. I think a lot of add-on developers just need to consider optimizing their texture usage and how much, you know, VRAM it's using, because it's Orbex True Earth. It's fantastic, it looks great, but it does just use a ridiculous amount of VRAM. I'm starting to get some visual artifacts over there. So what we'll do is we'll get the cabin crew getting the cabin ready for landing.
Flight attendants, prepare the cabin for landing.
So there's decel. As we approach 10,000, let's bring the speed brake all the way back up again, and what we do is we'll just get the landing lights on. I've actually turned the taxi light off, not to worry. And then just get over to the checklist. So we're not landing with 15 flaps. We can ignore that element. Landing lights are on. Passenger signs are on. Altimeter will set as we're getting a little bit closer to 5,000 feet. So it's just the landing checklist. Left to go. So down to 250 knots. Speed limit for less than 10,000 feet. Bring the range down to 20 nautical miles. And we'll just release the speed brake. Because with SimBuddy, we need to simulate how much fuel we're using. It affects how much money you make at the end of the flight, so we want to be as fuel efficient as possible.
Captain, the cabin is secure.
As we get close to intercepting the ILS, what we'll do is we'll just drop down to flaps 5, and that'll be our flap setting for intercepting the ILS. And then as the glide slope becomes alive, we'll go down to flaps 15 and then the gear down. And then as we're just migrating down the glide slope, we'll go to landing flap, which is flaps 30 today. VREF was set at 148. Like I said, we've got hardly any wind at Manchester today. Might just need to bring that speed brake up again. Might need to go to heading select mode as we approach the ILS. Just it doesn't tend to pick the best intercept heading, which means you could do some pretty drastic turns as you're intercepting the ILS, which isn't great. So we'll see how we go. The ILS is alive now. What we'll do now is switch over to the bit more drag, correct QNH, which is 1021. As we approach the transition altitude, as we skim these clouds. Just a word of warning for those who are just joining the stream. We might not have Manchester Airport might not have rendered properly just because we approached the maximum VRAM. So what I explained is done is just stopped loading in an additional scenery just to prevent us from crashing. So it might not be the best looking airport to go in. I'm looking down. I can't see anything like autogen, so I suspect that will be the case. A bit like the out of memory areas that you used to get in P3D. I've just pushed it a little bit hard today with the video RAM usage. So I do apologise if that happens. But looking like I said, it's basically just textures that we've got, no autogen. Turns a bit tight actually, but I think that should be acceptable. So we get about 5 nautical miles before we'll drop down to flaps 5. now at the minimum flaps up speed, so the speed brake can go down. Just arm it. Anticipation. And just let the ILS work out where we are before we arm the approach. So we'll go flaps 5 now. Localize is just on the wrong side just for now. Hopefully that'll correct itself.
1,000 to go.
I suspect the airport will be pretty sparse with buildings and things. I'm not even sure we'll get a runway loaded in. As we turn on to our final
2,500.
So let's arm the approach. Once we straighten up, what we'll do is we'll get the gear down, flaps 15. That's continuous. Speed brake is armed. And then the rest of it, the missed approach altitude is already set. The rest of it we can do as we get lower. So we go flaps 25. Sail down to 148. And flaps 30. So I'll let it settle on and then I'll take control. So like I said, slight crosswind of 5 knots right to left. Just take control of the autopilot and then we'll turn off the throttle around about now. So it does look like the airport hasn't loaded in the building, so like I said, I do apologise about that. I'll remember to change that in the future if I'm flying into Manchester, because it might have been just because I increased the bit rate the recording on the stream, so I think that's probably just overdone it for my graphics card. We've got this plane cutting us up ahead. Yeah, look, the runway textures haven't even loaded in. So yeah, do apologise about that.
$1,000.
1,000 feet, stabilized, Mr. Perch, altitude set.
We've still got the vehicles loading now. The planes.
500. 400.
It's a bit of a shame. It is really good scenery to fly into.
300. 200. Approaching minimums. 100. Minimums. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Idle reverse.
80 knots.
Stow the reverses. And we'll just take manual brake. And what we'll do is we'll just stop here. And we'll end the stream here just because, like I said, the airport hasn't loaded in correctly. No worries. Okay, what we'll do is we'll just get the APU on. And we'll unload the passengers, inverted commas. Hi Mike, basically we got a warning just as I was coming in approach that we were going to reach the VRAM on my graphics card. I think it's just with streaming in addition to using all the other add-ons and stuff, it's just used a bit too much of the virtual memory. So what I know to do now when I'm streaming is just switch down the textures to medium rather than maximum. So what I'll do is I'll finish the stream off, and then what we'll do is we'll fly from Manchester down to Newquay, and I'll have a half an hour break, and then we'll do that in a second. But before I do that, I'm just going to unload the passengers. Yeah, I mean I've got a Titan, so it's 12 gigabytes of VRAM. But obviously if you're streaming as well, it's just putting a little bit too much load on. Okay, so let's get the passengers off, and then I'll wrap up the stream. Do stick around. Like I said, in about 45 minutes, what I'll do is I'll just do a stream down to Newquay, and we shouldn't have the same problem flying there. And I'll make sure I've switched the settings so that we can support streaming as well. Almost done. But anyway, thanks very much guys for joining me. Do appreciate the high numbers today and people who joined us in chat. If you enjoyed the video, do hit that like button, and if you're new to the stream and you'd like to see more, do subscribe and hit the little bell icon, which will notify you of someone coming online. Would normally do replays and things just to see the landing, but obviously there's not much to see because the airport hasn't loaded in. Bit of a shame, but like I said, it's a bit of an error on my part for pushing the system a bit too hard, so I do apologise about that. Next stream should be much better. And I'll see you in 45 minutes as well, Boris. That's the passengers off. So, see you, like I said, in about 45 minutes. Catch you then.